Hey friends, it's Laurie. Let's go make something. I'm starting my first project today by using one of the small wooden crates from the Dollar Tree. I'm then cutting 2 craft sticks into 4 pieces that are large enough to cover the stars on the end. Using my STARBOND glue, I'm using my cut craft sticks and I'm covering both stars. With all my pieces glued into place, I'm now using my white acrylic paint and I'm giving it a complete coat. Once I'm done, I'm setting the crate aside to dry and I'm going to be using 12 of the tumbling tower blocks. I'm using them as a frame and I'm painting them with this pretty gray acrylic paint. I'm also painting 2 more tumbling blocks and I'm using my white acrylic paint. I'm going to end up using these as a base. I'm once again using my STARBOND glue. It sets up in just about a minute. It works great with wood, so I'm using that to attach my blocks to the front of the crate. I love using this glue when I'm working on my projects because it sets the wood up so quickly, and if you're interested in trying it, I have the link to STARBOND below in my description along with a coupon code. I continue adding the blocks to the crate, making sure that I glue them as tightly together as possible. Once all my gray blocks are added and my frame is complete, I'm then gluing the 2 white blocks onto the bottom as a base for my project. I'm using 1 wooden bunny and some buffalo check fabric, and I picked these both up at the Dollar Tree. I cut a piece of the fabric just a bit larger than the bunny, and I'm using some of my Mod Podge to attach them both together. On one side of the bunny, I used my paintbrush and I gave it a good thick coat of Mod Podge. I then placed the fabric onto the bunny, making sure it was lying flat. Once the fabric has dried, I'm cutting around the outline of the bunny and I'm leaving a small edge. This time I'm using my finger and I'm placing some Mod Podge around the outside edge of the bunny. Once I'm done, all I do is fold the edges of the fabric over so they attach to the other side of the bunny. I'm using fabric, but you can always use decorative paper or even cover it with a gift bag. I want to add on an accent to my bunny, so I'm using some of this pretty pink and white gingham ribbon that I bought at the Dollar Tree. I made a simple bow and I'm hot gluing it onto her neck. With our frame and our bunny complete, it's time to work on the words, and I'm using some of these wooden letters that I bought at the Dollar Tree. I picked out the letters to spell the word hop to it. I thought that was kind of fun, and I'm going to paint them with my white acrylic paint. I'm using some gray, black, and pink acrylic paint, and I'm just using the back of a paintbrush and painting some random dots all over the letters. This step is completely optional. I just thought it would be fun to add a pop of color to all of my words. To put the project all together, I'm using some assorted flowers that I had on hand, and I'm going to hot glue them inside of my frame. I didn't have a set plan of where I was going to put them. I just kind of randomly glued them into place. With my flowers all in place, I'm now adding on the words hop to it, and I'm attaching them to the front of the frame, once again with my STARBOND glue. With With my words "hop to it" attached to the front, it's now time to add the bunny, but this time I'm going to attach it by using my glue gun. I wanted to give my bunny a tail, so I went to my medicine cabinet and I grabbed a cotton ball. I just kind of rolled it between my hands to make it a little smaller, and then I attached it to the bunny with my glue gun. To finish up, I once again used my pink and white gingham ribbon. I made a simple bow, and then I hot glued it onto the top of my Hop to It bunny frame. I'm making my projects today as part of a Spring Fun collab. Please check out my amazing friends. I'll be linking the playlist below in my description. I'm starting my second project by using 5 of the mini clay pots from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be giving each of them a coat inside and out with my gray acrylic paint. Now that they're all painted and dry, I'm going to be using some of the black and white gingham and the buffalo check ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be attaching the ribbon accents to the pots with my Mod Podge. I'm measuring and cutting 3 of the black and white gingham and 2 of the buffalo check ribbons. With all my ribbons cut to size, I'm now adding a generous amount of Mod Podge around the top of my flower pot. And when I'm finished, I'm then adding the ribbon around the top edge. I then continued on and covered all my pots with my ribbon. When I was finished, I then gave them all a coat of Mod Podge on the inside and the outside. I'm adding the word bloom to my pots, and I'm using some letters that I already had on hand. These Dollar Tree letter stickers will also work great. I actually used them before in one of my first projects. My letters have a really sticky backing, so I've placed them on a piece of waxed paper, and I don't want them to be this gold sparkly color, so I'm going to use my white acrylic paint and give them all a coat. Now that my letters are dry, I'm going to attach them to the pots, and it's super easy because they have a sticky back. And I'm just going to place one on the front of each of my flower pots. I want to make a base for my pot, so I'm using one of these cardboard Dollar Tree signs that I had left over from the fall. I'm just using my white acrylic paint, and I'm going to give the sides and the top a coat. Once it's dry, I'm using my black and white gingham ribbon, and I'm attaching a piece across the top and onto the 2 sides. I then used my glue gun to tack it into place. With my black and white gingham added, I'm now going to add my buffalo check, and I'm going to hot glue a piece completely around the base. With my pots and my base complete, I'm going to finish up my project by adding some greenery that I had left over in my stash. I added a bunch in each of my 5 pots, and with that, my project is complete. For my third project, I'm using 5 of the wooden Dollar Tree boxes, and I'm removing each of the drawers. I'm going to save those for a project later on, and I'm only using the larger part of the box. I'm going to stack my boxes, and once again, I'm using my STARBOND glue to attach them together. Now that my boxes are attached together, I'm going to give them all a coat of my white acrylic paint. I'm going to add this pretty Dollar Tree Easter ribbon to frame out the boxes. I cut each to size and then hot glued them into place. I'm using Easter ribbon for this project, but you can always use a solid color or a different style of print. I'm using one of these Dollar Tree bunnies, and it's going to become the U in the word bunny. I'm removing the bow because I'm going to replace it with some different ribbon. I'm using the same print ribbon that I used on my boxes to make a simple bow for my bunny. To spell out the word bunny, I'm using some of these poster letters from the Dollar Tree. And like in my last project, I'm placing them on a piece of waxed paper. And to change the color, I'm going to use this pretty purple acrylic paint and give them all 2 coats. These stickers are not as sticky as my last project, so I'm going to be using some Mod Podge to help attach them to the box. With all my letters attached, I'm now going to add the bunny as the U in my word. Now that I know the placement of my bunny and my letters, I'm going to finish adding my Easter egg ribbon. Adding ribbon to your project is completely optional. You can always paint each of the blocks an individual color that represents spring or Easter, and I think that would look really pretty too. After my ribbon is all in place, I'm going to embellish the top of my sign using some of these Easter eggs from the Dollar Tree. Using my hot glue gun, I attached them to the top. If you don't want to add eggs to the top of your sign, you can always add some pretty spring silk flowers. To finish up my project, I'm using the same Easter egg ribbon and I'm adding a bow to the top. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed making these projects with me. If you're new and you haven't yet subscribed and you think, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.